Welcome back. Congress returns from August recess today with a big September ahead. The annual spending bill will be the big priority, with federal funding set to run out at the end of the month. That could lead to a government shutdown if Democrats go with Chuck Schumer's ideas. Senate Republicans are also considering changing chamber rules to fast-track some of President Trump's nominees after Democrats launch tactics to delay the process. Joining me now is Florida Congresswoman Cammack. Congresswoman, good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. Tell us about your priorities now back in Washington.
Well, it's great to be with you, Maria, and we are so excited to be back. It has been a very busy August. Not only did we welcome our daughter, baby Augusta, into the world, but we've been hearing from constituents all over the district, and people want to see more of Trump's agenda enacted. So we not only have 12 appropriations to get through, we have the National Defense Authorization Act. We have some real cleaning up to do here in Washington to build on President Trump's work. And quite frankly, there's no shortage of things to do. So we are full steam ahead, and we are really excited to get underway.
And this Thursday, the Senate Banking Committee will hold a confirmation hearing for CEA Director Stephen Moran to the open seat on the Fed. That begins at 10 a.m. this week. But Missouri Governor Mike Keogh is announcing a special legislative session to redraw Missouri's congressional map. The move could add another Republican majority district to Missouri's 8-member congressional delegation. And, of course, it comes as Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed the newly drawn congressional map into law over the weekend for Texas, securing 5 additional GOP-leaning House districts. House Democrats say that they're considering a new organization to fund and support redistricting efforts for blue states, Congresswoman. How does this set things up for 2026 and the midterm elections?
Well, courage is contagious. And what we have seen out of President Trump is the courage, well, and quite frankly, the cojones to do what few others would do. And what we have seen is this push to actually rectify a wrong that was done in the last census. The last census really shortchanged a lot of states, Florida and Texas, for example. Florida, we're pushing forward ahead with a redistricting because we were shortchanged a congressional district. Same thing with Texas. Now, Missouri and others are looking at this saying, maybe this is time for us to right this wrong. And if you look at states like Illinois or California, these are states that have gerrymandered their way into majorities. Maryland is now just trying to get some attention and saying we're going to eliminate the one seat that is Republican because they actually don't care about fair representation. It's all just politics to them. Whereas we see all of these censuses that were done that really, one, impacted us during COVID. Second, they also included illegal representation from people who weren't supposed to be in the country in the first place. So this is going to actually balance out, and I think it'll absolutely impact the midterms in a positive way for Republicans, but also for everyday Americans who just want to get back to that America First agenda. That's what people voted for, and that's what they're calling for. So we have to enact that through the state legislatures. There's a constitutional obligation that they are in control of elections, but the census falls squarely in the hands of the feds. And so we're talking about how we can get that underway and get this redistricting done in time for qualifying and all these ballot initiatives and measures to be in place.
All right. Meanwhile, you've got, what, 14 legislative days to prevent a government shutdown. You're going to have to work with Democrats here. You require 60 Senate votes, which means at least 7 Democrats. What's your take on the end of the month funding for government and the potential for a government shutdown?
Well, considering that Congress, it's certainly in my lifetime, and I'm pushing 38, has not been in regular order, continuing to operate off of continuing resolutions and omnibuses, it's really Republicans and Democrats' fault that we have not completed our regular order of 12 appropriation bills. Families have to budget. My family has to budget. Why shouldn't Congress? And in the face of 37 pushing $38 trillion in national debt with deficits, we need to get serious about reducing federal spending. And so that's going to require courage and a lot of backbone out of all of my colleagues, Republicans and Democrats alike. We have to complete a normal appropriation season because right now we're pushing almost $900 billion of unauthorized programs that continue to be authorized or continue to be funded and appropriated funds towards, but never having Congress's oversight. So This is our moment. We have all the space and opportunity to get these things done. It just requires that political courage. So I'm cautiously optimistic. We have a lot of fantastic members who really want to see this done. Now we just need the will to do it. So I'm cautiously optimistic, but in the past, we've not seen the completion of the 12 appropriations, which typically ends in a CR. And as someone who doesn't do earmarks, I find that very, very concerning that people are more concerned about their pet projects than they are actually cutting government spending and getting a budget completed.
Well, on California Representative Ro Khanna said that the Democrats will not surrender during the September budget battle, like Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer did with the Republican-led budget resolution the last time. So he's saying, look, we're not going to take the advice of Schumer. We'll see about that. What's your take on this stemming tariffs battle? You've got a pending case over the International Economic Emergency statute, which is the additional 2025 tariffs on Canada, Mexico, China, and the reciprocal tariffs. And this ruling from the Court of Appeals for Federal Circuit ruled and sided with the previous ruling from the Court of International Trade, saying that the tariffs are illegal unless Congress approves it. Would you be poised to approve all of the tariffs?
Well, I'll just say this about my colleague, Representative Khanna. I respect him, but I wish that my colleagues on the left would root for our country to succeed more than they would cheer for the man in the White House to fail. They will oppose anything just because Donald Trump is the man pushing behind it. And so they're more concerned with keeping bad trade deals in place that hurt Americans because they want to be in opposition to the president rather than actually fixing them. When you look at the situation with Mexico, for example, we just terminated the tomato suspension agreement. And I know that that's pretty wonky, but when you think about it, through NAFTA and then subsequent trade deals, we saw domestic production significantly decrease, harm domestic producers. And when you get into the national security conversation, we have a problem, whether it is our critical minerals, whether it is our food supply, our pharmaceuticals, basic raw materials. We have to be producing these domestically. And these trade deals are just fundamentally unfair. So predominantly, the president has the authority to operate in and putting these tariffs in place. We have a great relationship with the president, but primarily the Senate oversees those trade deals. We need to keep those lines of communication open, be working as one team, one mission, and we need to stop the obstruction. And the Democrats would be best if they would avoid a government shutdown, and they would focus on actually putting Americans first.
All right. So you support the president's tariffs, is what you're saying?
Yes, they are long overdue in terms of fixing all of these wrongs. I know that the markets need certainty, industry needs certainty, but we can't keep operating this way where Americans are constantly put last.
All right. We will leave it there. And congratulations on baby Augusta. Congressman, it's good to see you this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's good to see you.
Kat Cammack joining us.
Thanks,
Quick break and then